Hi guys, in this particular video, I am going to be teaching you how to set up a Django email. In this video, I will be showing you how to set up a Django email, how to choose between development and production settings, how to send basic emails, how to send HTML and multi-part emails, how to use HTML templates or Django templates to send out emails that are well structured, and some common mistakes to avoid. Hello guys, my name is Richard and this is my YouTube channel and I welcome you. If this is the first time you are coming into this channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit on the notification bell so that anytime I post a video, you will get notified. Now, let us set up our Django environment. So basically, right now, I have a project called Agri Grant. So I'm going to, first thing, I am going to spring up my terminal. And for the terminal, I'm going to be making use of bash. Now let's create a virtual environment. So I'm going to use Python -m venv my env. So my env is going to be the name of my Python virtual environment. And you can notice my IDE has detected that I have created a virtual environment and it is asking me, do you want to select it for workspace? I don't want to do anything right here. I'm going to just keep it aside. Alright, so let's activate this virtual environment. So I'm going to use source, the name of my virtual environment, /scripts/activate. Now notice the script starts with capital letter. And this is going to activate this virtual environment, as you can see here. So let's install Django. So say pip install Django. So because we are going to be making use of Django, and this video is basically how to send out emails to your users using your Django. So let's wait for Django to install. So Django is successfully installed. Right now, let us create a Django project. So we are going to use Django-admin start project. And we are going to name this project, I'm going to just call it farm project, and with a trailing dot so that I don't create an additional folder or directory. So this has created farm project with manage.py. Now I want to create an app. Let me call this app farm Django-admin start app. Let me call it farm_app. And this is going to create a farm app. Okay, so this is the farm project and this is the farm app. Now we need to do some things to set up the normal Django setup. So I'm going to add the farm app into the farm project. So in the settings.py, go to the installed apps and I'm going to add my farm_app, and that's it. Then in the I'm going to import include so that I can be able to include all the URLs that come from the farm app. Okay, so I'm going to do that here, and I'm going to set up the path. Include, what I want to include is app dot URLs. So all the URLs coming from the farm app is going to be there. So that's it for now. So we now go back to the farm app, and then we create a urls.py, and let's write this code from Django .urls import paths, and then from the current directory import views, and then set up the URL paths. And for now, this is for the home view. Now let's set up the home view. So I'm going to create a function. I'm going to use a function for this, and then return render request, and let's just have home.html. Right now I don't have templates, so I'm going to create a templates folder and create a file called home.html. Okay, and let's just add some simple HTML here. Say h1 welcome to file. Okay. I think we have done just this. Let's go ahead and run this app. So Python manage.py run server. Okay, so our server has been started in localhost 8000, and you can see where we are currently. So this is giving us exactly what we asked it to do. So our project is working perfectly. So right now the next thing is to implement the email in this thing. So let's set up the emails. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the project directory, and go to settings. I need to set up some email configurations. So I'm just going to comment this and say email configurations. And then for this email configuration, first thing first, I'll be needing email backend, email host. I'll also need email port, email use TLS, email host user, which is going to be your own email, and then email password. And these are some of the basic things that you may need. You may also need the default from email, so that you don't always call on it anytime that you want. You can easily get these values anytime you want. Okay, so I'm going to set up default email from, and that's going to be the email host user. So whatever email I have here is going to be the email host user. I'm going to just use my email, info@varsity.com. Okay, so don't spam this email. Actually, this is a do not reply email, so even if you send emails there, I'm not going to read it. So if you want to communicate to me, use the comment section, or you can just chat me direct through any of my social media accounts, which I will tag in this video. Alright, so for the password, let's just set some random password. Okay, so later on I will tell you what you would do to secure your passwords from this place. Okay, so you may use Gmail SMTP here. That's if you like. Okay, that's if you like. So, but currently I am still on development environment, so I wouldn't want to send out this email to the user. I want to send this email inside the console. So what I will do here is that I will set up the email backend as email backend as django.core.mail.backends.console.email backend, and this is for development and testing purposes. Okay, but when you want to host or deploy to a live server, you should comment this email backend and uncomment this particular email backend. So because this is supposed to be used on a production server, while this is supposed to be used on a development server. But there are so many ways you can still do this. You can still use conditionals like if else statement to set up when in production and when in development, but this is not within the confines of this video, so I'm not going to be speaking about it much. So once you're done setting up your emails configurations, the next thing we need to do is we will come to our view. So right now what I'm going to do is there is a module or there is a function that comes with Django, predefined in Django, and that module is called send mail. Okay, so with send mail you can actually send out emails automatically, and once you call this send mail, what happens is that it triggers automatic email and it doesn't fail. Okay, even if it fails silently. So that's one advantage of using the Django send mail. And to use that Django send mail, there are some bunch of modules we need to actually import. Okay, so I'm going to import the following modules. So from Django core import import send mail. So with send mail we can actually do a lot of things. And as you can see, my co-pilot has detected the send mail and it is giving me this particular option, but I'm going to press escape because I want to show you everything from the beginning. All right, I want to show you everything from the beginning. So what I want to do now is whenever a user reloads this home page, I want to send out an email to them. Okay, but you can do anything. You can make it that when a user submits a form, so on form submit, you call the send mail function. It depends on actually what you want to do, maybe on user authentication or on user registration or on anything at all. It depends on the action you want users to perform before you send out the email. What you just need to do is to call this send mail inside that particular function, and this is going to send out emails. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to call the function which is send underscore mail. All right, so this function is going to contain first the subject of this email. So let's say the subject of this email is farm app notification. Then the second thing it is supposed to contain is the message that you want to send, and then the next thing it will contain is who is sending this email. Okay, who is sending this email? So let's say I am the one sending this email, and who are we sending this email to? So who are we sending this email to? Which is the recipient of this email. And normally if we want to collect the recipient of this email, we use either a list or a tuple. So you can either use a list, as you can see it is wrapped in block bracket, or you can use a tuple that can be in a parenthesis. So, and then finally we add fail silently equals false. Okay, so that when this email fails, it tells us that this email has failed. And if you hover on this, you would see what this thing does. It says easy wrapper for sending a single message to a recipient list. All members of this recipient list will see the other recipients in the to field. If from email is none, use the default from email. So since we have set up our default email in the settings.py, if we don't have this from email, what will happen is that it is going to use the one we set up in our settings.py, and that is it. But I don't want to go into that. I want to show you every single thing. All right, so right now you can see this function in all these arguments: the subject argument, the message body argument, the sender argument, the recipient argument, and the fail silently argument. So these are some of the arguments that this send mail function can receive. And then what you just need is just to attach it to that function that you want your user to perform, or whatever function you want to perform while sending the email, or maybe function that we perform before the email is sent. Okay, or conditions that are supposed to be met before this email is going to be sent out to your users. And that's just simple as that. So now let us see what will happen. Let's refresh this website. Now we have refreshed. Let us check our terminal. And if you go to the terminal, you would see the email was sent. Look at it here. It was sent. This is the subject of the email, from where the email was sent from, and then the recipient of this email, and then the content of this email, as you can see here. So the email is sending perfectly. Okay, so but this method is very simple. So let's upgrade it a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to remove everything except the fail silently. And then what I want us to do right now is to have a form where we make everything much more interactive. So we can actually create some HTML right here. So let's go to our home page, which is inside the template, and let's create a form. Let's create a form. So this form, let's create a form. For this form, I think we should use a post method. So I'm going to select the post method. For the action, I don't really need an action for this. So all right, so then first thing first, when you are working with Django and you want to use a form, always use the CSRF token. And then the next thing is we need to receive some of these the things that we want from this form. And one of the things that we want from this form is to receive the subject of this email, to receive the email body, and then to receive who we want to send this email from. So that maybe you want to just type this message in your form and then you forward it to all your recipients. So I'm going to use label. This is going to be for the subject. Let's subject, then image type of text, and this is subject. I don't really need the ID for now because I'm not going to be doing any JavaScript here. And then the next thing I will do is I'm going to receive label for the message, and then text area to receive this message. And then finally, I want to know the recipient of this message. So I'm going to just add a line break and then label for the recipient, so who is receiving this email, the recipient. Okay, so this is just a simple form. So let me just use my break as BR to separate all these things. Okay. Okay, and then for my button, this is going to be type of submit and send email. So basically, if you come back here and refresh, we're supposed to have, okay, it says send mail is missing. Okay, we removed some certain things from the send mail. Let me just do what I did here and go there, refresh, so that we can see what this thing will look like. Let's be sure that the server is running. Okay, the server is not running. Let's see. So this is the form, and we can set up all these things. So we want to put in some details here and then send, and it sends with the content into the mail. So let's do that. So I'm going to remove this once more. Then let's import one more thing. There is something I would want us to use, and what I would want us to use right here are the following. I want us to import the settings so that we can use whatever we have in the settings, and also to import like messages. But for now, I don't think I really need message, so let's just import the setting. So from Django.conf import settings. So I have import the settings, and you can see one of the things that I like, I really like about this thing is that it usually gives me what I want. This is Copilot. Okay, so I'm using Copilot AI. You can see it here, and you can see code completion. It automatically completes my code. Okay, but I want you to see every detail of whatever I am doing. For now, I'm going to remove this send mail so that you don't get confused. So let us handle the form first, and once we are done handling this form, we can then set up the other things. So let's just handle the form first. So if request dot method is post, then what do we do? We need to get the subject of this email, and the subject is going to be request.post.get subject. Okay, and then for the message, it is going to be request.post.get message. So whatever message that we have, and then the recipient is going to be the same thing, request.get the recipient. All right, so now that I have gotten all these, okay, now that I've gotten all this, I'm not going to be saving it because I have not actually implemented my Django model. So I'm not going to be saving these things, but but if you want to save it, you now do save. Okay, but for now I don't want to save this. So what I want to do is just to call on the send mail, because I want to use the send mail function to send out whatever thing I have inside here in the email. I'm going to use this by just pressing my tab key, and what I'm doing right now is I want to get the subject, the message, and then get the recipient, not actually the recipient of this email, But here I want to get the from email. So who is sending this email? And then here is the recipient. Who am I sending this email to? Okay, and finally they fail silently. As you can see here, it is exactly as we saw in the first example. The only difference here is that we are collecting these things from HTML form. Okay, so and finally we want to I'm going to do something here, or rather let's run this and see what we have. So I'm going to just refresh this, and since I refreshed this with empty stuff, you can see nothing really happened. So we need to put up this. Okay, so let's say the title of this email is verify your email. So this is to remind you that you need to verify your email to use our platform. Okay, so who am I sending this email to? I'm sending it to this person. Now let's send. Now this email has been sent. Let's see, and look at, you can see the title is verify your email. Who is sending it is this. Who am I sending it to is this, and this is the content of that email. So this is just a way you can send email. This is one of the simplest way you can send email. I will show you the next alternative that you can send email through. So this particular method is the simplest method, but it has some limitations. So some of its limitation is that you cannot format your email properly. Like when you want to add some stars to your email, some templates to your email just to make it look presentable and branded. Okay, so this particular method may not be effective for you. So the second method I will show you is the most effective method, that when you apply that, you can actually use multi-path, which is you can use HTML templates, you can even add some CSS to style it up and so on. So it's very, very important that you also understand this second method. So, and that takes us to the method that we call email multi alternative, and that is also going to come from the django.core.email or .mail, sorry. So let's put comma here, and then we import email multi alternatives. And right now I am no longer going to be using the send mail function, but rather I am now going to be making use of the message. Okay, so for my subject, I am receiving it from somewhere. For my content, I am also receiving it from the form. For the recipient, I am also receiving it from the form. So let's just call this message like this, and then we are going to use the email multi alternative. And since we are making use of the email multi alternative, we are going to have this following. We are receiving this from the form. Okay, and then you can even attach some HTML to it. So let's say we have some HTML like this, maybe HTML message, and maybe let's put up some HTML here. Let's have this paragraph or and the paragraph, and let's say thank you for working with us. So let's say we want to attach HTML into the one we already have. So these are normal text messages, whereas this is HTML. We can even add some styles into it, like this style is to this, just to make it look nice. And so what we will do right now is we're going to do message.attach alternative, and what we want to attach right now is we want to attach the HTML message right here into what we already have in the message. And then the next thing is to send it, that's message.send. And this is all we need right now. So let's make sure that our server is still running. So I think it is still reloading and is now running. So let's see. I paid for a hosting, or rather, let me just copy what I have here, or cut it, paste it here, and say name server issue, and let's put up some email, and then send. Now this has been sent. Let's see. You can see that this message also was sent, and you can see I paid for the hosting. You can see the attached HTML content here. So everything is working fine. You can look at the subject of this email. So everything is really working fine. So the last thing I will be showing you is how to use a template to send this email. So basically, you don't write all your HTML within your view, because sometimes it might get really messy. So we need to create a template. So I'm going to create a directory for my emails, and right here I'm going to create my own email. So I'm going to call it welcome.html. And what I'm going to do is just make a simple HTML here, and then I am going to render all the contents of my HTML, or all the contents of my form within this place. Okay, so this is just some simple HTML. I might just remove this, then attach all my messages right here. So whatever message that I am going to write in my form is going to now appear right here. Okay, so now let's return back to this. So what we will do now is we're going to change a little some little things that we need to change. So the first thing is for us to be able to use the template that we just created, we need to import the render to string. So let's do that from Django.templates. Yes, from Django template.loader import render to string. So with this render to string now, we can actually do a lot of things. So right here in our HTML, so I'm going to use the render to string. This is going to send us to, and when you use render to string, we are now telling it that our HTML is located at emails, and the particular template we want to use is the welcome HTML. You can even add some CSS to your this thing at the top here. Just add some styles. Can add some styles, It doesn't matter. Whatever thing you want to add to it does not matter. The only thing is, this is just the way it is. So let's make sure that our server is still running. As you can see, still running. So let's just send out this message. Let's put up some certain messages. Testing 1 2 3, and then the recipient, let's forward this email, and hopefully this email was sent, as you can see here, and you can see it says testing 1 2 3. So our message was sent, and you can see it was sent with the template that we have. If we had sent this from a live server and we receive it into our email, you will notice that it will come with a particular style structure because of this HTML. So the HTML gives it a branding kind of style, okay? Just like your Binance, your whatever other platforms that you have been using before, if you see their email, you don't need anybody to tell you that this email is coming from them, because it has exact branding structure with their website or their application. And that way, that is the HTML emails. And this is all I have to talk about in this video. But before I end this video, there are some things I will show you. So first thing first is that at the beginning, we added the email configurations within this place, and this is very bad. In fact, this is a security concern. We just did it because we are still on the development server, but when you are working on the live server, one of the best things to do to secure your credentials is to have all your important credentials in an environment variable. So this is .env, and what you just do is you go to that settings.py, and then you call these things and cut them off from this place and then put them here, and this is where you have to add them, and then you start on them up inside here. Okay, so you just call them up inside here. I'm going to make a dedicated video on that, because sometimes people tend to leave their credentials inside this place, the settings.py, and it is very, very wrong. Okay, so that's one thing that you should do. And then secondly is that whenever you are using this particular TLS, when you use TLS, always use port 587. But if you want to use SSL, then use port 465. So some people tend to use port 587 in SSL. So most times the email will still end up in the spam. So always use the right ports. Okay, so and then finally, if you want your emails to be recognized or to have that integrity, always make sure you set up your SPF, DKIM, DMARC records very well. Okay, but I'm going to make a dedicated video on how to do all these things. So guys, if this is what you have been looking for and have been able to solve your problem, please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel and hit on the notification bell. Share this video and follow for more updates. I'll see you in my next video. Take care.